I'm here to talk about two things, so bear with me. First, people often ask me what the buck stops with Averbukh actually means. And second, I want to talk about something I think every UCP member in Calgary-Acadia should consider before choosing our next candidate. So for my campaign, the buck stops with Averbukh is really simple, and it comes down to 4 commitments. First, it's about uniting Conservatives. This is a critical time for our movement, and we cannot afford to fracture. We may not agree on every issue, but there is room in our party for debate and different opinions. And Conservatives need to remember that we have far more in common than we don't. And above all, there is one goal that unites every Conservative in Alberta and Calgary-Acadia: defeating the NDP. Well, we cannot do that divided. We do that by remembering what we stand for, focusing on what we share, and standing together when it matters. Because unity is the only winning strategy. Second is my passion to defeat the NDP. Third, it's my pledge to fight hard for Alberta and for a fair federation that respects Alberta's contribution and our place within Canada. And fourth, it's to fight for the things that matter every single day to the residents in Calgary-Acadia: affordability, efficient and accessible healthcare, safe and strong communities, and an education system that delivers for our kids. So that's what the buck stops with. Now, here's something else I think is important to mention. I view this nomination contest as a job interview. I'm applying to represent Calgary-Acadia as its UCP candidate and ultimately as its MLA. And in order for Calgary-Acadia to hire me, I have to make my case. I have to show you my record and tell you where I stand and prove that I can do the job. And the members and residents in Calgary-Acadia will decide who they want to hire. Which brings me to the second thing I want to talk about. When you're choosing the next UCP candidate to hire, please ask yourself if these 4 things matter in a candidate: transparency, consistency, loyalty, and electability. Because this nomination is not the finish line. It is the first step toward defeating the NDP in one of Alberta's most competitive ridings. The moment we choose our candidate, that candidate's entire public political record becomes fair game. The NDP will scrutinize it, the media will scrutinize it, and voters will scrutinize it. That's why transparency matters now. I've also heard a lot about who lives where, so let me address that directly. I have proudly lived in Sundance in neighboring Calgary Fish Creek for more than 20 years. The community's demographics, values, and concerns are practically identical to those in Calgary-Acadia. I shop here, I volunteer here, I've built relationships here, and I specifically chose to run here to bring Calgary-Acadia back home to the UCP. Living inside an electoral boundary does not automatically make someone the best person for the job, but character does. So if someone seeking this nomination has a significant political history, who until March of this year led another political party, has spent the last 15 years supporting a movement, or has taken positions that could become major issues in a general election, members and residents deserve to know that record before they vote. This isn't negative campaigning. It's bringing the high value of transparency to the forefront. Because elections should always be about trust and integrity. And this nomination should be about choosing a candidate whose character reflects both, who can unite Conservatives, and who can win in 2027. Because if we nominate the wrong candidate, the NDP won't want to campaign on affordability, healthcare, education, public safety, or Alberta's future. They'll campaign against our candidate. They'll try to make the entire election about that candidate's record, instead of the issues that matter to Calgary-Acadia. Well, we cannot afford to hand them that opportunity. The job is to keep voters focused on affordability, safer communities, better healthcare, stronger schools, and a government that fights for Alberta. The job is to unite Conservatives. And most importantly, the job is to bring Calgary-Acadia back home to the UCP. The buck stops with Averbukh.